Yes, back again. This is not a weekly whiskey wrap-up. It's because I'm busy Sunday, so this is a weekly whiskey welcome.
Yes.
Uh,
Hashtags will change.
yeah. Nate Morgan, Friday Harbor House Bar, Restaurant, Hotel, San Juan Island. Today, we're going to do some rye for you.
Yeah.
One of the variations, people think of whiskey, then it's bourbon, it's rye, scotch. We've covered that mostly, but today's a rye day. We're doing what, straight ryes?
We're doing straight ryes. Another day we'll do ones that have been blended or aged in other casks like Whistle Pig out of Vermont, that sort of thing. But today we're just doing straight ryes. So these, by U.S. government definition, need to be at least 51% rye in their mash bill, and the rest can be corn or what have you, though some of these are going to be 100% rye in their mash bill, so you really get that spicy, chocolatey-ish sort of grain flavor out of it. We've got a couple of craft ones coming from smaller distilleries, and then two from ones I'm sure you've seen out there. Bulleit in particular, you can pretty much find Bulleit almost anywhere you go. If you can find Bulleit, then I don't know where you're at. Come back to America.
Got a local boy in the Woodinville. This is a 100% rye whiskey made in state here in Washington.
Yeah, we've got one of their small barrels for aging cocktails in here at the restaurant, so
yeah,
that's been fun.
I still will do some cocktail videos.
I've stopped pestering you.
That's when it'll happen.
Yeah.
Ask my wife.
Law's Whiskey House out of Colorado. We've got their Secale Rye, and their bottled in bond version of this was a World Whiskey Award winner a couple years back. We have the Peerless Kentucky Straight Rye. Now, this is on the whiskey, what is it, the
15th best whiskey from Whiskey Advocate.
Yep, and it's the only rye on the best whiskey on the whiskey's list. It's a little bit of a younger age. This one's only been aged 2 years, but they're doing the distilling and aging themselves. It's an kind of scarily expensive bottle. That little guy is $30. Yeah, their full-size bottle's like 140. It's crazy. Then we will be doing our Canadian offering, the 1910 rye from Pendleton. Even though it's Pendleton, Oregon, it's all coming from Canada. It's just cut with pure Oregon mountain water. You can taste the Portland on it.
You can taste the rodeo.
Yeah, taste the rodeo.
So tell people real quick what they can expect from the taste profile of the average rye versus a bourbon.
Sure. Well, ryes are historically one of the older types of American whiskey offerings. Usually rye offers a little bit kind of a spice. If anybody's had any rye bread, you know, that little kind of grainy cereal, but then like a peppery spice. Then there's honestly I find a lot of chocolate on the end of a lot of ryes. So we're just going to start off with Bulleit ryes, again, a pretty standard bar offering. Bulleit, however, while they do have a bourbon that their parent company makes, the rye itself comes from MGP, which is a big mass distiller in Indiana. I always get Indiana and Illinois mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it's Indiana or Illinois. Lawrenceburg, either way. This is not a bad thing. They make whiskey, or they make distillate for a ton of people, but just on how they finish it up on when they get it. But
so that's how they differentiate. Like if MGP is distilling it all, they send it to this person, they do a little tweak to it, they send it to this person, they make it their own, which I guess depending on how you look at it could be a crock of shit, or it could just be...
Well, you're not allowed to say that on YouTube.
You know. Oh, well, we'll see if we get flagged. Don't snitch.
But I have no problem with anybody sourcing their distillate and alcohol from another company. I just personally would prefer transparency and just tell us that you're doing it. I want to know who I should be giving credit to.
That's a good point.
So starting off with Bulleit.
Classic. Bulleit 95 Rye. Straight American rye whiskey at 95% rye mash. This is a 90 proof Louisville, Kentucky. Classic bottle shape.
That's where it was labeled anyway.
Yeah, right. I like their packaging a lot. The bourbon is an orange label.
I make a 10-year-old bourbon too that's not half bad. On the nose, it's mostly grainy. A little bit of, like, I don't know, cooked cornflakes for me, even though I know it's rye, but it does contain, it's a 95% rye and a 5% barley mash bill. It's a standard one from NGP that offers. You can call them up and order from them in bulk. Get yourself, by the 500 gallon bowls.
I mean, that's Bulleit Rye. It's kind of a,
Yeah, nothing scary.
Nothing.
You get a little bit of a fiery, peppery spice off of it. Snag that water from you as well.
For the people who say they don't like a rye, usually they're referring to the lack of caramely sweetness and that more pronounced spice. They're crazy though.
Yeah. And most people who say they do like a rye, a lot of them have just had the Bulleit or MGP's offering.
It's true.
Let's
especially knowing how ubiquitous it is now.
Let's switch to the Pendleton, which is our next big name. Pendleton again, Canadian whiskey, and technically, they can call it a rye without any rye in it. However, all the information I have found says it's 100% rye, so
we'll believe them this time.
You gotta trust everything you read on the internet. That's the rule.
And again, we mentioned this last time. Says Hood River, Oregon, but it is a product of Canada. It also does say that on the bottle, 100% Canadian whiskey. And what were you saying about the reason that Canadians can call it a rye?
It just happened from way back in the day when distilling was just getting started in Canada. There were some people were making whiskey out of barley and things like that, and then somewhere come along, somebody added a little rye to it, and it got popular. So somehow the vernacular changed that everybody just started referring to whiskey as rye. So as near as I can tell on the Canadian Liquor Control Board website, you don't technically have to have rye in a whiskey to call it a rye, but most folks do for at least some honesty's sake.
So this has a much different nose than the Bulleit.
It's older. I believe the Bulleit is 6 years, while the Pendleton is 12 years old.
You can really get that barrel.
Mm-hmm. It definitely does mellow it down. There is still a hint of some fusel alcohol, some like kind of that medicinal alcohol sort of scent on it.
Yeah, that's a different experience than the bourbon.
Yeah, Canadian whiskeys usually have a thing going for them that they're usually very smooth, and I do find this one very easily drinkable.
Yeah, that might be a good, if people are scared of rye, it might be a nice entry point.
Yeah.
Because you definitely get some of that more smooth caramel. That's cool. I mean,
yeah,
for Canadian, you know what I mean?
Hey, I love Canada. I can see it from my house from here. That one's definitely got a little bit more of the darker toffee. Definitely a little teeny tiny bit of baking chocolate, but not a whole lot, which we will find in some of the other ryes.
What do you want to switch to?
80 Laws, it's been opened already. The other two are brand spanking new.
Pa, pa, pa. Beautiful bottle, beautiful packaging.
Yeah.
Cool label.
They're definitely going for a...
interesting font choice.
Kind of a 20s sort of Art... Is it Art Nouveau or... I can't remember.
Mid-century, some sort of Gatsby type shit
There
stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna get ourselves flagged, man.
YouTube, what's up, YouTube? Yeah, beautiful. And Secale? How do you say that?
Yeah, Secale, I believe.
Secale?
It comes from the, I think, Roman word for cereal. So,
and that's a type of rye. Aged less than 4 years. Ooh, yeah, it's a totally different nose.
Yeah.
Denver, Colorado, huh?
This one definitely has some darker toffee. I'm getting I don't know, kind of a grapey date sort of sweet end to it.
Yeah, a little figgy. A lot more grain.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely got that peppery spice that travels along the whole back of your tongue.
That's an interesting out breath too, whatever that finish is.
All this stuff's 80 Laws is distilled and sourced in Colorado.
That's nice.
And they've won a couple of awards for their items. I've got a nice 4-grain from them that we'll have to do sometime.
80 Laws. I'm a fan of that. What does that bottle run you?
80 Laws, I want to say that one was in the mid-40s when I picked it up. I've had this one, honestly, for a couple of years now.
It's kind of a toasted marshmallow.
There you go. I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, definitely. It's the toasted part of that marshmallow.
Toasted, yeah. Toasty as hell.
Caramel, a little bit of burnt.
Woodinville?
Woodinville.
Take it back
door
to our great state. Leave your back door out of this.
Yeah, sorry.
I love Woodinville's usual.
Their bourbon's
what is it,
good.
Their bourbon.
Yeah.
I have not tried this, but
Woodinville is all sourced from Washington. The fields are out near Quincy, if you know your Washington. But apparently they bring it over to this side of the mountains, distill it, and then send it back to Quincy for aging because it's warmer and drier over there. We're on the wet side of Washington right now.
Looks like this is a family biz, huh? The
Yeah.
Omlin family farm in Quincy. Shout out the Omlins. Over the Cascade Merritt Mountains back to our private barrel houses. So yeah, it looks like it.
This is their initial batches of the rye were being aged in small barrel, like 7-gallon barrels. Now this new batches are in standard barrels because they've upped their production on their rye. And this is my first time having it, honestly. So,
Ooh, kind of a cinnamony nose.
yeah, wow. Cinnamony, maple syrupy, sweet nose, kind of like French toast almost.
Fruit leather, they say.
No, really? Is that what it says on that?
Well, it says aromas of cinnamon, clove, fruit leather.
Yeah. That's what it pays to read labels. Ooh, okay. It's a pretty good thick one on the tongue there.
Yeah.
It's not as peppery as the 80 Laws. This it's 100% rye here on this one. It's definitely a toasted caramel cereal. This is actually quite smooth as well. I like this a great deal.
That's really drinkable.
I generally like the kind of peppery that comes out of ryes, but this is good.
It's really good. Definitely thicker. You can tell from the legs too. What's the aging kind of years we got on this? Do we know?
Not 100% certain. I did not see that online.
It's tasty.
As far as I know, they're not, because they're kind of going for craft, they are not adding any caramel coloring to this, so
Wow.
I would want to say this has been at least 4 years given the color.
Oh yeah. I mean that's pretty dark.
There's a lot of wood in this, a lot of oaky wood, so could be they're using a pretty high level char on this one.
It sounds like they do a pretty slow toast with a heavy char to
Okay.
really get that wood in there. And man, that's really good.
I'm actually just dropping a smidgen in that. I want to give this see if it opens it up.
Nice job, Woodinville.
Okay, so a little bit of water kind of cuts down on the wood, and I do get that really heavily toasted marshmallow at the end on this one. That's not half bad.
Shout out my mom for buying this. Thanks, Ma.
Thanks, his mom.
Cool, man. Let's get to the little baby.
All right, so this is Peerless, made out of Kentucky. It is only been aged 2 years, which is the barest minimum, I believe. Now, this is a heavier proof. This is 100 and a little bit. Oh, yeah, go for it. Put a little extra in there because you might want to add some water after this one.
Cutie.
It's a tiny little bottle. Now, I say initially, this really doesn't jump out on the nose too awful much.
So it smells like the Bulleit. As in, not much
Yeah.
happening. What proof is this?
108.5.
108.5, baby. Bow, 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 bow.
This has definitely like a slight bread scent to it, but it's not as punchy as some of these other ones. Let's see if some of the water opens it up.
Definitely got the pepper, the spice.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That extra alcohol content brings out a lot of sharp pepper flavors to that.
The water brings out the nose more.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Open that up pretty good. Wow. Much more pepper. But it's also much more burn, so.
Yeah, I definitely get a lot of kind of toasted grain. I'm getting a little bit of okay, this is going to sound super pretentious, but like somebody burnt an apple pie in my mouth. Like kind of that cinnamony, spicy, but then burnt crust sort of thing.
Doesn't sound pretentious. That sounds
Yeah.
romantic.
Oh, well, thank you. So,
Yeah.
but because you're getting that caramely that's coming out all that sugars, I guess, but it's definitely very toasted.
Super toasted. That's pretty
And
good.
since it's high proof, it goes a long way because you can cut it with water.
Really nice. A big old cube in there.
Yeah.
Aged 24 months in wood.
Barrel proof.
Barrel proof.
Mm.
Peerless. Cool.
Yeah, so this gives you some ideas of some ryes to go out there and try. We'll do another video at some point with some ones that have been finished in alternate methods. Whistle Pig, sourced from Canada, but finished off in a couple of different wine casks. Basil Hayden's not actually finished in anything, but it's a blend of Kentucky bourbons, Canadian rye, and then they threw in some Californian port, I
I
believe.
think it's Kentucky Straight Rye.
Is it?
Yeah, blended with Kentucky Rye whiskey. And then they add some of the port. like
And then,
that.
oh yeah, Canadian rye whiskey. Then out of High West, Midwinter Night's Dram. This is out of Utah. This is also a sourced alcohol from MGP, but finished off in French oak and port barrels. And then finally, at one point, we will do the Whipsaw Rye. This is also a sourced whiskey, but I'm not sure where it's from, but it is finished off in some Napa Valley cab barrels.
Nice.
Somebody may drag our sommelier friend Nathaniel in on that one. All right.
Excelente.
Well, that's it for me tonight.
Yes. Cheers. Salute. Enjoy rye whiskeys. Go out and get some. Or, substitute it in your old fashioned or your Manhattan or whatever you're doing and
We know it's Monday, but now you got something to look forward to on Friday.
learn to love it. Salute.